Hey guys, my name is Aaron Jones. I am the host of Coffin Corner Podcast here at Met Media, joined by my friend Isaac Bugarin, host of Game 7. We're here to bring you guys a quick Rockies update. The Rockies lost last night in extras to the Giants, 8-4. It was a pretty bad loss.
That was a rough one.
It was a rough one. Peter Lambert pitched great.
Oh, yeah.
Great outing, and that comeback in the ninth put us into extras. It was just a bad way to see the Rockies, lose one at home.
It was. And they're losers of what, 4 of their last 5?
4 of their last 5. You can go back. I don't know what the record is past that.
Well, they were 0-6 coming into
the All-Star
break, right? Mm-hmm. And then they came in, played against the Reds, opened up against the Reds at home, and took 2 out of 3, which I thought was an impressive series.
Yeah, well, and we at that point in the season, right, we had scored 157 more runs than the Reds.
Yeah, exactly.
So 2 out of 3 isn't bad for a team like that. A sweep would have been nice, but it was good to see. And we had a lot of momentum coming into the San Francisco series.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and it was an important one. Go ahead.
And it was really the turning point was that first game in the doubleheader on Monday, right, when they lost 19-2. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Right, and that one was a tough one because one, you really don't know what you're going to get out of a 12 a.m. start, noon start. So I know it messes with the pitcher's head a little bit, just to say baseball players are creatures of habit, right? And so you change the start time from what could be usually a day games at about 1:10, 1:15 to now all of a sudden they're playing an hour before. I mean, it changes their head just a little bit, but you got to be able to get up for a noon game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I was at that game sitting in the sun.
Yeah, it was rough.
But
it was a rough one.
It kind of set the tone for the rest of the series.
Exactly.
It's like getting dominated like that. Having Mark Reynolds pitch the 9th inning, it's like it's hard the next day to just shake that off.
Exactly.
And clearly we hadn't yet.
Yeah, Marquez has given up, 11 runs through
11 runs through
2/3, I think.
I don't know. I did see, he leads the NL with 74 earned runs.
Yeah.
Which is bad in itself. Obviously, that's the reason this team is, yes, they're still in wild card contention, but there are 7 teams within 3.5 games of the second spot.
Yep.
So, anybody's in the NL is really in it besides the Marlins. So
yeah, exactly.
For me, it's really demoralizing. You come off 2 losses to a divisional opponent.
Yeah.
And, I said this last night, seeing Wade Davis take the mound, it's like seeing somebody you really don't like about to come and start a conversation with you.
Yep.
It's just unwelcoming. And it's like, to pay a closer $16 million a year and have that be the result, it's really frustrating as a fan.
It is, 100%. That's why I was honestly surprised to see Bud Black still give Wade Davis the ball in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
Because, so before, what was it, 2 weeks before the All-Star break, he had just blown another save, and Bud Black had said that they were making changes to the end of the bullpen. And so I thought for sure that would mean that Wade Davis would no longer be in there. That Brian Shaw could possibly even slide up to that 8, and we'd see somebody else like Scott Oberg in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
Because Scott Oberg has been pretty much
He's
brilliant.
pitched good. I mean, he struggled last night, but I mean, Scott Oberg has been our Adam Ottavino this year.
Exactly.
He's really stepped up and taken that position on. I talked to him in the locker room last night, and he kept reiterating the fact that, if I'm down 3-0 in a count, I'm still confident.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think Wade Davis is. He still has command on his curveball. He still has command on his fastball. He just cannot find the strike zone.
Yep.
And same with Brian Shaw. If he was in that same spot, I wouldn't have any confidence in him either. And it sucked too because Peter Lambert was great.
Oh
yeah. He was awesome. Here's what Peter Lambert had to say after the game.
It's Cubs, but how did you feel out there?
Yeah, I felt good. It was good for me to go out there and pitch like that. But I was pretty comfortable out there.
It just seemed that you were definitely in attack mode. You kind of pitched like yourself. Do you feel like just after the earlier experience, you just have full confidence now that, hey, I'm here, can breathe a bit and just pitch like yourself?
Yeah, I think that's been a problem. I've been falling behind in counts a lot, not really getting deep into the game, and especially after the last few days. My biggest goal today was, to get deep into this game, to kind of save our bullpen a little bit.
What was the mindset after that second inning? You got nicked for a couple runs and then came back, put up some zeros.
Yeah, and mindset didn't change. I mean, a few infield hits got me in that inning, but it's just trying to attack on that one.
Can you walk us through that play, the ball back to you? I think it's off the bat of Panic. Seemed like you thought you had a play on it there. Were you going to come home with that?
No, I was gonna turn around and throw to Trevor, but falling off to the left a little bit, and then kind of was off to the right a little bit, and just ticked off my glove. I mean, I could have let that go straight to Trevor. He probably had the double play right there, but in the heat of the moment, I'm just trying to get every ball I can get to.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, and I mean he's right, and it is frustrating. So for it's nice to see a young pitcher like that do well, but it's frustrating to for the game to get away from us. And after that comeback,
exactly.
So
to me, if a starting pitcher can if he can pitch 5 to 6 innings and give up 2 to 3 runs, that's all you can do. That's all you can ask.
That's
right?
all you can ask for.
Right.
And I mean, throughout the game, we scored 1 run the whole entire game.
Yep.
And obviously, you have that resurgent, which out of nowhere, we crank 2 home runs off the best closer in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had the stadium rocking, and then it's like Wade Davis ruins it all.
Yeah,
so.
and then one of them coming from Ian Desmond, which was really good to see. He's really stepped up this year. Last year, I feel like everybody was calling for everybody to DFA him.
Oh yeah.
And this year, he's been a bright spot in a tough locker room.
Yeah, well, and he's been above average.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is more than we got last year.
He's not hurting us.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not hurting us in center field. Granted, he's not helping us too much either, but he's not hurting us as much as he was at first base last year.
Yeah, exactly. And these as a Rockies fan last year, we had the same amount of wins, I'm pretty sure, if not close to, after the All-Star game.
Yep.
It just sucks to see, the team going in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Which leads to the conversation where at that time in the year, what is Jeff Bridich going to decide? Are we selling the farm?
Well,
are we going to become buyers?
Let me say this: Jeff Bridich, historically, throughout his Rockies tenure, has not made a lot of trades. He has not made a lot of trades. So pretty much, he says that as long as they are continually growing and responsibly spending, then he sees it as a good move, or as a solid no move, I should say.
Which I agree, but it's like, how much are you growing?
But it's also because Jeff Bridich and the rest of the Rockies have a different view of rating players. So that's why it's harder for Jeff Bridich and the Rockies to trade with multiple teams. So that's why we've seen multiple trades with the Blue Jays, right? Where we traded Troy Tulowitzki to them. We picked up Songwon Oh from them just a year ago, right? We see a lot of trades with them. Because we have a similar way of rating players in the farm system and at the big league level. And so it's harder for Jeff Bridich to say, hey, I value X player at $20 million or at so many pieces, because he views it as, or him and the Rockies all view it as as different points rating or whatever they use.
Yeah, well, and I think, if we're going to trade with anybody, Toronto would be a good suitor. Yeah. Obviously, we're not going to get Vlad.
Yeah, exactly.
He's untouchable, but they got guys like Kevin Biggio who are really close to getting up to the majors. And this all also coming on the, day after we also find out that, star infielder Brendan Rodgers has a torn labrum and has to have surgery and is out for the season, which the news broke mid-game. And that's, again, it's just another demoralizing thing as a Rockies fan.
Yep.
Talking about trading for young players, and then it's like your best young guy gets hurt. But, and after that you ask, okay, well, if we're going to be sellers, who are we selling?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the hard truth that we have to realize is if we're selling, it's probably going to be Charlie Blackmon and or Trevor.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. The two guys, or I guess the 3 guys that people would really look forward to buying is one, Trevor Story, right? Who's having an outstanding year, probably going to win.
Only
a Gold
26
Glove.
Years old.
Exactly. You still have him under team control for another 2 years.
Yeah.
David Dahl, right, coming off an All-Star appearance. That's another guy that I think teams would be interested in buying. And lastly, I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody going after somebody like Germán Marquez or Peter Lambert, somebody that's in that starting rotation that can give quality innings.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't be surprised, I guess now that I say it, I wouldn't be surprised to see Scott Oberg in discussion also. Teams that are trying to get a solid right-hander in that back end of the bullpen.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Oberg thing I agree with. I don't think that, if you're rebuilding and you're trading all-stars to get young talent, I don't think you trade a guy like Germán or Peter, especially Peter Lambert.
Yeah, exactly.
They're so young and right now they're not making an impact on whether we make the playoffs or not, and they're going to be here for a while. And Herman has struggled, but he's still an ace in my opinion. And Peter Lambert, I mean, he has just been unbelievable. Aside from that one game with the Astros, giving up like 4 runs.
He's a pitcher.
He's hitting. He had a base hit last night.
He's hitting like 500.
He's hitting like 595 or something.
Yeah, exactly. He's an athlete, man. Pitchers are athletes.
Yeah, yeah. Were you a pitcher?
I did pitch, but I wasn't always a full-time
okay,
pitcher.
Well, you must not be an athlete then. But I think if anybody goes, it's time to move on from Charlie.
Oh, I've been saying that for years.
Yeah,
he's a defensive liability.
Yeah, well, and I just think if we add someone, great, right? And if we make the playoffs, great. But our best 3 players, Nolan, Charlie, Trevor, are the main focus of this team, and they've shown repetitively that they cannot make it past the divisional round.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're not going to win a championship, and if you're not going to trade for players who can get you to be championship caliber team, why keep those players?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I understand the whole, fans, you don't want to move, you don't want to just trade players all the time.
Yeah.
But they've been here long enough, and they've proven to us that, this is how good they are.
Yep. They've proven to us that they're not the answer to all of our problems.
Yeah, and I think the only caveat to that is, yes, those 3 have never had a solid rotation.
Yeah.
To be backed up on, but still, it's teams have gone deep in the playoffs with bad pitchers.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So I just don't think this squad, pending any trades, can if even make the playoffs even. So
I've been saying for the whole year that I didn't think this was going to be a playoff team, right? But I think it's a majority of it is because this team isn't built like the last teams. The wild card team of 2017 and last year's team that got to the divisional round that beat the Cubs in the wild card game were built around pitching. Those were teams that Jeff Bridich and Bud Black said, hey, instead of out-hitting these other teams, we're just going to out-pitch you. Yeah. Right? We're going to hold you to 2 or 3 runs, and all we're going to score is 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah.
It was pretty simple. It wasn't built around the offense like Colorado should be, right in the thin air. It's teams that say, hey, instead of hey, we'll take you to the 9th inning, but we're only going to give up 2 or 3 runs by then, right? We'll let you hit 1 in the 9th inning, but we're going to come back in the 9th inning. We're still going to score another one. It's pretty simple, right?
Well, and it's hard to do that when you're 29th in team ERA.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
and I don't think you couldn't expect what you got out of your young pitchers last year. You couldn't expect them to duplicate that because last year was such a historic year for us pitching that there was no way that Rockies starters and the Rockies bullpen could duplicate that in another year.
Yeah, well, and Herman had a career year, and
Kyle Freeland.
What's the biggest missing piece? That Kyle Freeland.
Yeah, exactly.
And the dismal years he has had, and who knows? Due to his fall off, maybe he's a guy that is up for a trade.
You could see John Gray on the move also. I wouldn't be surprised to see him.
Well, and John Gray's had a resurgent year, going 9-6. So
he's been respectable this year.
Yeah,
right? His fastball last year he was sitting at, or the last 2 years I guess he's been sitting at about 93, 94. His past few starts he's been clocked at 96, 97, 98.
Which is when we drafted him, right?
Yeah,
I think it was right after Chris Bryant. That was the guy we drafted.
Yep.
So it's nice to see that. I mean, it's one small shining moment in the Rockies season.
Yeah, that's the truth.
But yeah, I mean, we keep bringing up guys, and it's like, oh well, we could trade him too. So yeah, I mean, buyers or sellers, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all for today, guys. Quick Rockies update. Remember to go follow me on Twitter at Coffin Corner Met, and on Facebook and YouTube at Coffin Corner Podcast.
You can follow me at Isaac_Bugarin on Twitter, and I am the co-host on the podcast of Game 7 at _Game 7.
And remember, guys, you can always find all of our sports content at mymetmedia.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.